parents, school counselors, education psychologists, teachers, and professors, let me ask you something that may change the way you look at Gen Alpha completely. What if the child in front of you is not underperforming? What if the child is not distracted, lazy, confused, or not academic enough? What if the child is simply being measured through the wrong intelligence framework? Because every child does not learn through the same doorway. Some children think through words, some think through images, some think through emotion, some think through movement, some think through numbers, some think through people, some think through silence, meaning, and deep internal reflection. And this is where intelligence mapping through Vedic astrology becomes extremely powerful. Not because it replaces modern education psychology, it does not, but because it gives us a deeper diagnostic layer. It helps us ask, what is the natural intelligence architecture of this child? Not what society wants the child to become. Not what parents are anxious for the child to become. Not what schools are currently measuring, but what the child is actually wired to express, enjoy, develop, and contribute. And the core engine of this diagnosis is the Karaka system. When I do intelligence mapping, I do not simply look at the moon sign and give generic personality lines. I do not simply look at the fifth house and say, this child is intelligent. That is too shallow. I look at the Karakas. The Atma Karaka shows the soul's deepest intelligence impulse. It shows what the child is here to experience, refine, struggle with, and ultimately master. The Amatya Karaka shows the applied intelligence. It shows the career pathway, the skill direction, the practical intelligence that can become work, contribution, vocation, and public usefulness. Then Mercury shows learning style and communication. Jupiter shows wisdom, teaching, guidance, ethics, and higher understanding. Moon shows emotional processing, memory, sensitivity, imagination, and psychological receptivity. Venus shows aesthetic intelligence, creativity, harmony, design, music, pleasure, refinement, and relational beauty. Mars shows execution, courage, physical intelligence, competitive drive, engineering instinct, and problem-solving through action. Saturn shows discipline, structure, seriousness, endurance, long-form learning, and system building. Rahu shows innovation, digital intelligence, mass influence, unconventional thinking, and hunger for breakthrough. Ketu shows abstraction, research, spiritual insight, hidden pattern recognition, detachment, and the ability to cut through noise. This is how we move from vague career advice to a precise intelligence diagnosis. Now let us take Daniel as an example. Daniel's chart gives us a very clear intelligence profile. He has Gemini rising. That immediately tells us the child's mind is curious, communicative, adaptive, idea-oriented, and mentally mobile. Gemini rising does not like dead information. It needs movement. It needs dialogue. It needs contrast. It needs comparison. It needs language. It needs ideas that can be discussed, exchanged, questioned, and rearranged. So if you are teaching a Gemini rising child like Daniel, do not expect him to thrive only through silent memorization. He may learn better when he can ask questions, debate, explain, compare, write, speak, present, and connect one idea with another. This is the first measurement technique. Do not only ask, did the child memorize the chapter? Ask, can the child explain it in his own words? Ask, can he compare two concepts? Ask, can he teach it to another child? Ask, can he turn information into conversation? For Daniel, explanation is a stronger marker of intelligence than rote recall. Now, the most important signature is this. Moon is the Atmakaraka. When Moon becomes Atmakaraka, the soul intelligence becomes emotional, receptive, imaginative, intuitive, caring, and psychologically sensitive. This is not a dry academic chart. This is not a child who is here only to process information like a machine. Moon as Atmakaraka means the child learns through feeling. He remembers emotional tone. He responds to atmosphere. He absorbs people. He senses moods. He may understand what is not being said. Now place this moon in Pisces in the 10th house. That is very important. Pisces gives imagination, compassion, dreams, symbolism, empathy, faith, sensitivity, and emotional depth. The 10th house gives career, public contribution, reputation, visible work, authority, and what the person is meant to manifest in the world. So Daniel's soul intelligence wants meaningful public expression. He is not likely to be fulfilled by work that feels cold, mechanical, repetitive, or emotionally empty. He needs to feel that his work matters. He needs to feel that what he does touches people, guides people, educates people, heals people, or gives meaning to people. For parents, this is critical. Do not push such a child only toward a path because it looks stable from the outside. Stability without meaning may slowly kill motivation. This child needs emotional purpose in his education. He may enjoy psychology, counseling, teaching, media, storytelling, film, poetry, public communication, healing fields, educational content, spiritual studies, or any work where human emotion and public contribution meet. Then we come to Jupiter as Amatya Karaka. Jupiter as Amatya Karaka is a very strong career intelligence marker. It shows the advisor, the teacher, the mentor, the guide, the educator, the philosopher, the counselor, the person who turns knowledge into meaning. Jupiter does not merely collect facts. Jupiter interprets. Jupiter connects. Jupiter gives direction. Jupiter asks, what is the wisdom behind this information? Daniel's Jupiter is placed in Gemini in the first house. This makes his applied intelligence communicative, expressive, explanatory, and identity level. He may naturally become the person who explains things. He may like giving perspective. He may enjoy connecting different subjects. He may say, let me explain this another way. He may enjoy teaching, mentoring, advising, presenting, or guiding. And because Jupiter is in Gemini, his intelligence is not meant to be locked into one isolated discipline. He may enjoy combinations: psychology plus communication, media plus education, law plus ethics, business plus audience behavior, design plus psychology, writing plus philosophy, technology plus human interaction. This is interdisciplinary intelligence. And for Gen Alpha, this is extremely important. The future will not reward children who only memorize one subject in isolation. The future will reward children who can connect domains, who can synthesize, who can explain, who can communicate across systems. Daniel has that pattern. Now we come to the central intelligence engine of the chart, the fifth house. Daniel has Sun, Rahu, Saturn, and Mercury in Libra in the fifth house. The fifth house is the house of intelligence, creativity, learning, memory, judgment, performance, education, talent, expression, and the joy of creating something from the mind. When the fifth house is heavily activated, we are not looking at a passive learner. We are looking at a creative, intellectual processor. But because this is Libra, the intelligence becomes relational, aesthetic, social, diplomatic, comparative, and people-oriented. Libra asks, how do people relate? What is fair? What is the other side of the argument? How do I create balance? How do I present this beautifully? How do I influence without attacking? How do I make an idea acceptable to others? This is why Daniel's strongest intelligence is interpersonal intelligence. He may understand people. He may read reactions. He may sense social balance. He may know when something feels unfair. He may be drawn to relationships, group dynamics, negotiation, psychology, law, public relations, counseling, teaching, and social influence. And this is where many parents make a mistake. They think intelligence means only mathematics, science, coding, and exam scores. But interpersonal intelligence is one of the most valuable forms of intelligence in the real world. It is the intelligence of leadership, the intelligence of counseling, the intelligence of negotiation, the intelligence of teaching, the intelligence of sales, the intelligence of diplomacy, the intelligence of public communication, the intelligence of understanding what people need before they can say it clearly. For a child like Daniel, you must measure how he handles people. Can he mediate? Can he explain both sides? Can he sense group tension? Can he persuade? Can he collaborate? Can he lead a discussion? Can he understand emotional subtext? Can he help another child feel understood? These are not soft skills. These are intelligence markers. Now, Mercury in the fifth house makes linguistic intelligence extremely strong. Mercury gives speech, writing, analysis, articulation, language, wit, logic, and explanation. In the fifth house, Mercury becomes creative. In Libra, Mercury becomes diplomatic and persuasive. With Sun, it gains authority. With Rahu, it becomes unconventional and media savvy. With Saturn, it becomes structured and serious. So Daniel is not simply a child who can talk. He may have strategic language intelligence. He may enjoy debate, writing, storytelling, public speaking, script writing, journalism, podcasting, teaching, law, marketing, branding, counseling, or content creation. He may be able to frame ideas in a way that people understand. That is a gift. If you are a teacher, do not silence this intelligence. Channel it. Give him essays, presentations, debates, speeches, storytelling assignments, research summaries, group teaching tasks, and opportunities to explain complex ideas simply. If he speaks too much, do not just say, "Stop talking." Ask, "Can you organize that thought? Can you present it in 3 points? Can you argue both sides? Can you write this as a persuasive paragraph? Can you turn this into a short presentation?" That is how you train Mercury. You do not suppress it, you refine it. Now let us look at the third intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence. Moon as Atma Karaka in Pisces and Jupiter as Amatya Karaka in the first house give Daniel a strong inner world. He may think deeply about himself. He may feel things intensely. He may need time to process. He may ask questions about his purpose, identity, emotions, choices, and direction. This is intrapersonal intelligence, the ability to understand oneself. For such children, journaling is powerful. Reflective discussion is powerful. Mentorship is powerful. Psychology is powerful. Artistic expression is powerful. Quiet time is powerful. But here is the caution. A child with high intrapersonal intelligence may sometimes look withdrawn, dreamy, moody, or inconsistent. That does not always mean the child is weak. It may mean the child is processing internally. So instead of asking only, "Why did you not perform?" ask, "What was happening inside you? What did this experience mean to you? What were you feeling before the exam? What kind of environment helps you think better?" This is how you measure and support intrapersonal intelligence. Now, Daniel also has existential intelligence. This comes from Moon in Pisces, Jupiter strong in the first house, and Ketu influencing the social gains axis from the 11th house. This child may not be satisfied with shallow answers. He may ask big questions. Why do people suffer? What is success? What is truth? Why do we live like this? What is the purpose of education? Why do people behave differently in public and private? Why does society reward certain things and ignore others? This is not overthinking. This is existential intelligence. Guide it properly, and it becomes philosophy, ethics, psychology, spiritual inquiry, writing, counseling, teaching, or deep research. Ignore it, and the child may feel misunderstood. So give such a child meaningful books, biographies, mythology, philosophy, comparative religion, psychology, ethics, symbolic stories, reflective films, and conversations about life. Now, Daniel's visual spatial intelligence is also strong, though not the strongest. Because the entire fifth house cluster is in Libra, a Venus-ruled sign, his creative intelligence has aesthetics. Venus itself is in Scorpio, giving depth, emotional intensity, mystery, symbolism, and transformation. This means Daniel may enjoy visual storytelling, film, photography, branding, design, editing, fashion, symbolic imagery, psychological art, or cinematic expression. But he may not be interested in beauty only for decoration. Scorpio Venus wants depth. He may like visuals that reveal something hidden. He may like mystery, contrast, intensity, emotional themes, transformation, or symbolic design. So give him visual projects with meaning. Let him create posters, short films, video essays, mood boards, symbolic art, presentation decks, brand concepts, or visual psychology assignments. Now, his logical mathematical intelligence is moderate to strong, but it is applied. This is important. Daniel has Mars in the third house, Saturn with Mercury in the fifth, and Ketu in the 11th. This gives problem solving, systems thinking, argument structure, loophole detection, and strategic reasoning. But this does not necessarily mean he will love abstract mathematics in isolation. He may enjoy logic when it is connected to law, debate, coding, game strategy, business models, analytics, behavioral patterns, digital systems, audience research, or decision making. So do not say he is either creative or logical. That is too simplistic. Daniel shows creative logic, social logic, linguistic logic, psychological logic, strategic logic. He may not want to solve equations endlessly for no reason, but he may love analyzing why a campaign worked, why a person behaved a certain way, why a courtroom argument succeeded, why a story moved an audience, or why a social system produces certain outcomes. That is still intelligence. Now his naturalist intelligence is moderate. Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and Ketu give sensitivity to environments. He may enjoy nature, oceans, animals, travel, peaceful places, environmental themes, or nature photography, but his chart is more people-centered than nature-centered. Nature may become a healing environment for him rather than the main career intelligence. His musical intelligence is also moderate. Moon as Atma Karaka, Venus influence, Mercury in the fifth, and Mars in the third can give rhythm, voice, lyrical instinct, emotional response to music, spoken word, narration, podcast voice, or songwriting potential. He may enjoy music as emotional expression. He may enjoy lyrics, mood, soundtracks, rap, spoken word, or voice-based media. But again, the primary intelligence is language and people, not necessarily formal music. His bodily kinesthetic intelligence is moderate to lower moderate. Mars in the third gives courage, hand skills, active effort, performance drive, and physical initiative. He may enjoy theater, martial arts, structured fitness, instruments, sports with strategy, video creation, or stage performance. But the body supports communication. It is not the main intelligence engine. So if we rank Daniel's intelligence types, the order becomes very clear. First, interpersonal intelligence. Second, linguistic intelligence. Third, intrapersonal intelligence. Fourth, existential intelligence. Fifth, visual spatial intelligence. Sixth, logical mathematical intelligence. Seventh, naturalist intelligence. Eighth, musical intelligence. Ninth, bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Now, what does this mean practically? It means Daniel's education should not be built around one narrow label. The best tracks for him are psychology plus communication, law plus debate, media plus education, marketing plus human behavior, design plus symbolism, business plus audience psychology, teaching plus digital content, counseling plus storytelling. He is not just a student who absorbs. He is a communicator, a people reader, a meaning maker, a creative analyst, a potential mentor, a public-facing thinker. A child like this needs discussion-based learning. He needs presentations. He needs debates. He needs writing. He needs creative projects. He needs emotionally intelligent mentors. He needs subjects connected to real human life. He needs opportunities to speak, teach, create, and reflect. He needs structure, yes, because Saturn in the fifth demands discipline. But structure must not become suppression. Saturn should refine his creativity, not crush it. Rahu in the fifth gives modernity. Give him digital tools. Let him learn content creation, editing, communication technology, AI tools, media literacy, public messaging, and responsible influence. Mercury in the fifth gives language. Let him write and speak. Sun in the fifth gives confidence. Let him present. Moon as Atma Karaka gives emotional sensitivity. Give him safety. Jupiter as Amatya Karaka gives teaching capacity. Let him mentor. Venus influence gives aesthetics. Let him design. Mars in the third gives courage. Let him act. This is how intelligence mapping becomes practical. For Gen Alpha, this is urgent. Because this generation is growing up in a world where information is cheap. Artificial intelligence can retrieve facts in seconds. Memorization alone will no longer define excellence. The real question is, what human intelligence does the child carry that can mature into contribution? Can the child understand people? Can the child communicate? Can the child synthesize? Can the child guide? Can the child create meaning? Can the child solve problems in a human context? Can the child turn emotion into language? Can the child turn knowledge into wisdom? That is where Vedic intelligence mapping becomes powerful. It does not trap the child into fate. It reveals the natural doorway through which the child can grow. So when you look at Daniel, do not ask only what job will he get. Ask what kind of intelligence gives him joy. Ask what kind of learning makes him come alive. Ask what kind of contribution will feel meaningful. Ask what kind of environment brings out his best mind. And the answer is clear. Daniel's joy comes through words, people, meaning, beauty, emotional truth, and public expression. He should be guided toward communication, psychology, teaching, media, law, counseling, design psychology, public speaking, content creation, and human-centered strategy. This is not about forcing him into a career. This is about recognizing his intelligence before the world mislabels it. Because many children are not failing, they are being evaluated through a system that cannot see their real intelligence. And when you map the Karakas, houses, signs, planets, and conjunctions properly, the child becomes readable. The confusion reduces. The pressure becomes more intelligent. The guidance becomes more precise. And the child finally feels seen. If you are a parent, counselor, teacher, professor, or education psychologist, and you want to understand the real intelligence pattern of your child or teenager, get in touch with me for an intelligence mapping reading. One that works for the child in front of you, not the child society expects them to be. Because the right reading does not put your child into a box. It shows you the door your child was always meant to open.